From changing the names of sports teams like the Washington Redskins and the Cleveland Indians to tearing down statues of our founding fathers, have we reached a new era of cancel culture? Let's bring in political commentator Amisha Cross and former deputy assistant to President Trump, host of America First on Salem Radio, and Sinclair Media contributor. Thank you, Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Seb, let's start with you. This argument about the Washington Redskins has been going on a long time. The Cleveland Indians, the Atlanta Braves, the Chicago Blackhawks. Where are you on this?
Well, I think we should ask Native Americans. A recent survey was published where 9 out of 10 have no problem with these names. It's not about being correct. It's not about sensitivity. It's about control. Whether it's statues, whether it's sports team names, the fact that they're now attacking Frederick Douglass's statue, this tells you everything you need to know about the craziness on America's streets. Listen to the founders of BLM. Eric, we have video. The founders of the Black Lives Matter organization said, "We are trained Marxists." Read their website. It's about attacking institutions. It's not about justice and peace.
All right, let me bring it over to Amisha. Amisha, you and I are both from Chicago. Chicago Blackhawks, one of the most beloved sports teams in the city. When I think of a mascot, Amisha, I think of power. I think of winning. I think of strength. How all of a sudden is a mascot, the Blackhawks, how is that offensive? Is it racially offensive? Is it offensive to you?
I'm a huge Chicago Blackhawks fan, have been for years, even before they got all the titles they currently have. I think that the bigger issue here, though, aside from, sports enthusiasm, is that there is a population that was castigated by America, that was seen as a group that didn't even deserve to be in this country. And we have taken their names. The United States has taken their names and basically made a mockery of them by placing them on.
Why is it a mockery? Why is it a mockery? I mean, I would love the Washington Bowlings to be the football team here. It would be an honor to be named as a mascot. It's just strength and power. How is naming a team after a Blackhawk or a Brave or an Indian, how is that a mockery?
What history comes along with that naming? I've never seen anything in the Blackhawks whatsoever that actually epitomizes or showcases or even talks about the history of the Blackhawks in this country. And I think that when we do things where we take names and we use them without really fully showcasing what happened to these individuals throughout the course of American history, there's a problem there. Also, these individual tribes do not benefit whatsoever from these names. So again, I think that it's problematic that these names have just basically been stolen, their history eradicated, and those groups are still suffering to get their basic needs met in America.
All right, Seb, have we hit peak crazy in America where, now names that would normally show power and winning and, aspirational things are now somehow, racist. It just blows my mind. The statues coming down. I'll tell you, I do this thing called We Hear You, and it's call in every show. I would tell you we got well over 300 calls, and I'd say 2/3 of them were really ticked off about statues coming down. I think we need to unpack this a little bit more. Sure, there were some that may be offensive, and I get it. Maybe they just need to be removed or moved to another place. Are you okay with at least that?
Look, you can have a conversation about this, but at the end of the day, you have to remember one thing, Eric. This is a mob. You never, ever surrender. You never genuflect to the mob because it's the thin end of the wedge. President Trump told us, 9 months ago, Eric? Sooner or later, they're going to come after George Washington. Well, they skipped George Washington and they went after the freed slave, Frederick Douglass. This is insanity. It's about control. It's about making sure that you have to do what they say. And if you disagree with them, you will be canceled. This is cultural Marxism, no more, no less.
And Amisha, let's talk a little bit about the news this week where there was a white couple that painted over the Black Lives Matter logo in the street. Now, as of this taping, they were being sought after for a hate crime. Listen, I get don't deface things and have permits for doing things that you want to do, but do you think that was a hate crime?
No, I think that is a bit of a stretch, especially in this case. Was I upset that they painted over it? Yes. But to define something as a hate crime that actually does not involve any type of real violence is somewhat problematic.
And let's take it one step further. There are those who are going to say, look, they did the same thing that a lot of the the Antifa crowd has been doing, maybe some of the Black Lives Matter crowd has been doing, where they're spray painting, they're voicing their First Amendment right using this, in this case, paint. Is it any different from what we've seen in Seattle or Minnesota or New York or DC?
I absolutely think that it is, because in this case, we know that this was a direct pushback from people who don't believe in Black Lives Matter, not only as an institution, but also as a means to moving the country forward. They could have easily just stood by and done nothing. The city put that there. This isn't an individual who just decided to paint Black Lives Matter on streets. The city put it there to showcase the fact that they care about a population that feels as though for decades they have been subjugated by American culture and American society. To push against that in the way that they have says something, and it says that we do not care.
Well, what about that, Sebastian? If the city did put Black Lives Matter on the streets as a show of support to the group, and then the couple comes in and defaces that, is that not the same thing that a lot of people on the right have been complaining about, the original graffiti going on buildings, sides of buildings, et cetera?
Look, graffiti's wrong, whoever's doing it, but the idea that, Amisha just said Black Lives Matter is moving the issue forward. No, it's actually moving us back. They're not doing anything to make things better for Black Americans. More than 20 people, Eric, have been killed in the riots since George Floyd was killed. We had half of those were Black Americans. If they cared about Black Lives Matter, they would be on the streets of Chicago every Sunday, where over 100 people were shot and over a dozen were killed just last weekend. They don't care about Black lives. It's about power, and it always has been.
Oh, we're going to leave it right there. Sebastian Gorka, Amisha Cross, always great debates with you two. Thank you.
Thank you.